Hello and welcome to Green and Gorgeous. I'm joined here with my co-host Tori, and Miss Haley's not able to join us tonight, so we're starting off 2023 with just the two of us. So, Tori, how are you tonight?
I'm not doing too bad. I know I've been sick for this week, so luckily I'm finally getting over that. How about you? How are you?
Yeah, I feel the same. Yeah, I don't know if the same thing going around like the whole states, but I feel like everyone's kind of at a sicky point, whether it's like with the ear pressure, the nose, or the cough, and just kind of sound like a 98 geriatric patient sometimes. So.
Yes, definitely.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're happy to have you guys here. It is a new year, and we just first want to start off and say if y'all haven't seen the update about our player, not our player, but the Buffalo player that went down, they said that he's making good progress and that he is awake and he's able to write. He's still intubated, so he still has the tube in, so he's not able to speak, but he's been able to write, and that he's neurologically intact, so that's a positive, and that we just wanted to say that our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family and the whole Buffalo Bills organization, T. Higgins, and the Cincinnati organization, and that we are continuing to pray that he makes more improvement and that in the future, like, we'll start to see, like, more and more improvement, that he's actually able to be extubated and just kind of, yeah. So a lot to come out. So, Tori, do you have thoughts on that also?
I mean, nothing more than what everyone's kind of been saying. Like you said, our thoughts are with it's amazing to hear the progress he's having so
Mm-hmm.
soon after. And I know almost everyone was watching that's a football fan, I'd assume, and it was just a very big game for the AFC in general. And so that became literally, it meant nothing, and everyone around was just kind of there in hopes that this man was going to be okay. And it's great to
Mm-hmm.
see that things are turning a corner for him in a positive way. So
Yeah.
hopefully that just continues. And we just kind of wanted to touch on that for sure. Yeah. Jacob brought this up. Millions, millions. Last I checked earlier today, it was like $7
Yeah,
million
7 million.
is what I've seen, and counting, because it was
Mm-hmm.
3 million yesterday. The day after it happened, I think it was like a million something. So it is growing, and that's awesome. So if you haven't donated and you want to donate to a great cause, you
That's a
can
great
find
one.
that is a really great one, and he's been doing it since high school, which is awesome.
Yeah, I keep getting chills every time I see an update about him. And I
Mhm.
know, speaking for me personally, like, and probably for everyone else, like, how hard it was to sleep Monday night because you just had no idea. Like, we just had no idea. And I think it was so cool to see the players, the organizations, how everyone's changed their profile picture, the other NFL players that have donated, obviously the anonymous ones, like, but to be able to raise that much money and for a great cause. And like you said, he's been doing it since high school. So it's very encouraging. But to be able to see that progress today, because it's just very scary, and happy that it's a sense of relief, and it's trying to get a little bit back on track. So
Yeah, definitely. So thanks for kind of opening with that and giving everyone the update. But now we can kind of talk about what about that win that we had on Sunday?
wow, yeah, that Sunday was an interesting day to say the least. I mean, the way that we played, I don't know about you, but when we got them to go 3 and out, and then we went 3 and out, it's kind of like, okay. And then miffed the kickoff, or
The
the
punt.
punt, yeah, came
Oh
out that way.
gosh.
I was kind of like, oh, this is the beginning of the end. Like, that was fun. Like, that was fun. It was fun, a
Yeah,
lot of laughter.
yes, we stopped them. I felt really good, and then we got stopped, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be one of those games. And then we had that blocked punt, and I was like, it's gonna be one of those games. And with that, it made me nervous because we have such a terrible time bouncing back from something negative like that.
Yeah,
And to see our team actually have that mean absolutely nothing. Our defense came out and stopped them and
stopped
held
them.
them to a field goal when they were on like the 2 yard line.
Yeah, he kept pushing them back. I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
they pushed them back to
okay.
like the 4 or the 5. So like that was amazing to see from our defense. Holding Jefferson to one catch in 15 yards, amazing. Honestly, this was just one of a more complete games, and it was so nice to have it over Minnesota.
Yeah, absolutely. All three phases looked really good. It was very exciting. We'll touch more on it a little bit later with like the Jair situation, but yeah, it was awesome to see. That was kind of encouraging because last week we were kind of negative, and we'll see because it was winter, winter, that was it,
Yeah.
and they came out to play, and I think it was just kind of positive. So do you think the Aaron Rodgers haircut has anything to do with it?
I have heard so many people talk about that was it. Maybe he's more aerodynamic now.
It's not weighing him down in the back.
He does. When I saw that interview, so we had it on at work, but we had like the volume was on, like our sports TV's on at work, but we have like other sounds going on, so I couldn't really hear it. But I saw him, and I was like, "Is this from like 2012?" Like
Yeah,
he
that's what I
looked
thought too.
younger, like
Yeah,
way younger. So
yeah,
maybe
because
he was feeling younger. I don't know.
well, we're saying like, oh, he just is trying to find himself with the haircuts and not really sure. And I'm like, he looked so good. The 2010 Super Bowl era, like right after, like he looked so good when it was like short, a little bit
Definitely.
spiky. And then to see him pop up, I thought the same thing. I was like, when was this from? And yeah,
Yeah,
sure enough, it
this
was from
interview, like he looked like he literally decreased in age at like 10 years.
yeah, yeah, which was needed because he was looking kind of rough. Like Tom Brady looks better than Rodgers, and Tom Brady has, a couple years on Rodgers. So, but
Yeah.
I gotta share my favorite Jefferson sack or stat. I'm sorry, I'm with everything that's going on. I'm all over the place. Okay,
In case anyone doesn't know, Emily and I are both in a medical field, and so January and December are completely hectic for us.
hell week. Yeah, it has been
December
hell
is
week.
literally hell because everyone's trying to get in before deductibles. And January, I mean, it can go one way or the other. For me, it's this year we're slowing down a little bit where we're getting so many surgical patients right now.
Hmm.
So we are
Yeah.
we are both exhausted.
Yeah, yeah, and for me, we call the first week of January Hell Week because now we have to recheck everyone's benefits for the year,
Yep.
and the payers are down.
Get all the
Um,
new insurance cards and then all dealing with the insurance companies is a
yep.
fucking deal and a half.
So yeah, that's been my life for the past couple of days, and so my brain is just like fried. So, but my favorite stack was
You got it. It's all right.
stat stack
Hut. Said hut.
was it was Justin Jefferson versus Jair Alexander. One catch, 15 yards, got grittied on. Almost Mike Garrett, an official, deactivated his social media.
Oh
That
my
was
god.
the stat.
Okay, let's touch on this. That because that was honestly, I didn't believe it when I read it. I saw that in the morning. It was either the morning or late at night. I think it was the morning. But what do you think about Justin Jefferson deactivating not one but two social media accounts and his statement about the gritty dance?
I don't know if it was just the fact that he was like trying to make such a statement because of Jair calling it a fluke, or if it was just him being emotional. I don't know. I don't know if it was like let me deactivate and then once I like re-pop back up, it's like new branding and then he'll have all this different stuff. Who knows? It was just kind of convenient, but it was just like
Really bad
why?
timing if that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, like why? Like I feel like only childs delete their social media. Like I'm sorry, like you get in a fight. Oh, okay.
Right?
I don't like very rarely do I block people, but it's like I don't block people. Like I don't deactivate because someone hurt my feelings. Like it's just kind of like in this day and age, and it's like really. So I, teach their own. But what were your thoughts on it? Because to me, I was just kind of like, really, like
My
it's not that
thoughts?
important.
My thoughts? Soft. So soft. Like seriously, you had someone play great defense against you. Jair did tell, like he said it, you're a good wide
Yeah.
receiver. He thinks you are in the top 3. To this day, he even said after that game he still feels he is in that
Mm-hmm.
category. And he's doing great. He is a really good wide receiver. But the fact that you can't just be like, like he had a
Yeah.
great game.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe just say something. Don't be like, this wasn't fair. I can't believe he was so tasteless
Yeah,
and
the
blah blah blah.
taunting, he got in
Yeah.
my head, he got what he wanted. And I agree, there was, that play that he did do the gritty on him, like,
Okay.
he
Let me
was
get
holding him. Like, it
I
should
did
have
see some
been
hands, so I do feel the refs let the guys play a little bit,
I
but
do
I
agree,
felt
which
it
I
went
love.
both ways. I felt
Yeah,
it went both ways. If it doesn't go both ways, that's when it becomes an issue.
yeah, and I strongly believe the same thing, I agree, because there was a lot of holds on Watson, just weird things that weren't getting called. It is what it is, they were letting them play, it's a division rival. That's great.
But the complaints from the fans about that no call on the taunting for the gritty, first of all, the gritty is just a dance.
Yeah.
He could just. We all know why he did it.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely, because it's
we
that's
all
a deficit
know
dance.
why he did it, but it is literally just a celebration dance.
Yeah.
And so it is the same thing as someone sacking Aaron Rodgers and doing the belt. No one's
Yeah,
getting called
exactly.
for taunting on that.
Because it's Roger's thing. Yeah, exactly.
It's
It's fair is
it's like
fair.
we get why you're doing it. Yes, it's probably taunting in a way, but that's your touchdown celebration if that's
Yeah.
what you choose. It's not hurting anyone, just your feelings.
How do you feel about the hidden 85 gritty where he went under the tunnel and he was doing it?
Oh my
He's
god.
so cute. I love him. Like I think he's great. Like it was so funny. It was very respectful. He went into the tunnel, but it was still funny that he did it. And I was like, oh, he got moves. Okay, okay.
Yeah, I know. I see what the fans are thinking, and like, yeah, I'd be kind of pissed if it was my player, but I'm not gonna throw fit on social media and be like, this should have been taunting.
Yeah,
Because guess what? That play, it's not changing anything.
yeah.
That if you
No,
get a taunting call, that's not changing anything.
he probably still would have missed a field goal anyway. So I mean, he
Yeah,
missed two
of course,
others.
it's
So
a Vikings thing.
yeah, complaining. And then speaking of other Viking things, are the complaining about our field. That we soaked it, that it was wet, it was unrealistic expectations for the field. The NFL should look into it. And I don't know if it was their offensive coordinator, someone from the Vikings organization said that they did talk to the NFL about it. And I'm like, okay, you rat. Like, really? If it was, 34-31, okay. But in all reality, it was 41-3. I don't count those two garbage time interceptions against or not the touchdowns against our fourth string defense. I don't care. You lost. It is what it is. Y'all still won the division. But no, we did not soak our field to hurt your chances. That's the
Yeah, how
second most
come?
ridiculous thing.
Because yeah, like our guys could stay standing.
Yeah.
So if our field was soaking wet like Chicago's, that
Why
what
weren't
was
we
it, week
slipping sliding?
one? Why weren't we slipping and sliding? Also, did it even rain?
No.
Like no.
And that's
What?
I think that's what they were complaining about because they looked at Green. That's how petty of an organization is. They looked at Green Bay's weather forecast, went all the way back, said it had not rained since before Christmas Eve, and why was our field so wet? And it's like, again, really, like again, if it was 34-31, something closer, but y'all got blown out. Just accept it and move on.
Right? I mean, look, the Vikings, that game, it partially meant something to them. It partially meant them getting closer to a 1 seed and getting that first round bye. But it did not mean as much to them as it meant to us. And we played like it meant something to us because it does. It is win or go home for us. And it just came down to gameplay. And Kirk Cousins thought that it was a Sunday night game or something because it was dark out because that's how he plays in a primetime game.
Oh my
So
gosh. Do you believe he has astigmatism?
I don't give a fuck what he has.
That's what they were saying. Like that's the reason that he can't see at night is because he has astigmatism and the lights are too bright and they blind him. Which is funny because that's what, oh gosh, who was it that told Aaron Jones that a couple years ago? Which is then why Aaron Jones used the sunglasses and was like, yeah, the lights are too bright. I can't think of the player who did it, but
I can't think off the top of my head, but I think that's also fucking stupid. So sorry. You find something to figure it out.
yeah, no, it just all together, just seeing the Viking fans just getting
Can't you just
upset.
say we got
We
you this
lost.
time? We
Yeah,
got
the
you.
better team won. It
Because
is
guess
what it is.
what? I was blaming our team when we got destroyed by them. I was not blaming the
Their
Vikings field. I was
the refs.
not blaming that.
Yeah,
No, I was like, our team played like shit.
they played like dog butt. Like it was bad.
And that's just what it was for them. Their team played like shit.
Yeah.
Honestly, did they get exposed? Possibly.
Would it be the first time this season?
No, and that's just crazy. Is their point differential is negative.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't understand how you're so. Oh my god, your record is so much better than ours, and the point differential is not that far off.
Because they only won 11 games by one score or more, and the only game that they didn't was when they beat us. Was it 21-7? I think it was 21-7, or was it more than that?
I felt like more. I think it was a little more. Either way, the 3 games that they have lost were by over 17 points at least. So that's what happens, and they can't do that in the playoffs if they think they're going to do well. I know Vikings fans are nervous because if rankings kind of stay the same and we make it in and they have to play us,
Mm-hmm.
they're freaking scared.
Yeah, because especially because right now, like we're on fire. So depending on obviously how Sunday's game goes, and
Oh, one of also my favorite things I heard is people thinking that we rigged our schedule somehow, like it
oh,
was
with the two
rigged
home
with
games,
the 2 home games. We played out of the first 6 games, I think it was, 4 away. That's just
yeah,
how it goes sometimes. It's scheduling.
yeah, and that's not our fault. Like we don't choose
No.
that. We didn't beg for that. Like it is what it is. And I think like we were one of the guys I saw on Twitter today. He was kind of getting schooled for it, but he did say, and it is a fact, we played 5 games in 5 different cities. Now, yes, 2 of those games were at home. However, that's still 5 games. Like like a different city every week, and that's hard. That's hard on a body. That's hard on a player. It's hard to get in, emotion because you've got to start, traveling, and especially with doing an overseas game,
Yeah.
it's hard. And also, the Vikings bye week came a lot sooner than ours did. We had to wait all the way
Oh, we needed
until
that by
whatever
a
week.
week at least 3 weeks before we got it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's just how the cookie crumbles. That's what it was. We have 2 end home games. There's other teams too with 2 end home games.
hmm And we
That's
usually, for the past X amount of years, I can't think how long, but the last couple of years, we've always finished in Detroit. So
yep.
this is nice that this
Last
year
year
we
we finished
actually,
in Detroit.
yeah, and I think the year before too, whenever they sat Rogers, like, it's nice to be able to see, the Packers, have a nice home game because it's fun. It's fun to see that.
Yeah.
It makes no difference. Like we lost at home too. So again, what are y'all
Yeah,
complaining
right.
about?
So does this game make you feel better about our playoff chances then?
I do. I think they're finally starting to, develop their character, figure out who they are, kind of get a real sense of themselves, and I think they finally got it figured out. Mostly, there's still, some, why is Rogers eating it on, fourth and form one, third
Yeah.
and one, like I think that's just in his character. I think he's just so used to the hero ball. But I did feel confident, in this team, at least
If we
hopefully
can
against
if we can
Detroit.
play the way we just played every game, yes. We
Yeah.
can we I still don't see us going to the Super Bowl by any means. I still barely see us winning 1 game in the playoffs if we make it there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything great, but I mean, we've had a really good turnaround. Like, who would have thought we would have even had a shot at the
Yeah.
playoffs with the first 7 weeks for us?
No,
So the fact we're here is great.
it is kind of exciting because I mean, I will say like when we were 4-8, I was kind of like, well, at least, I don't have to, get a heart
Heartbroken in the
condition.
playoffs.
Yeah. In the playoffs. And here we are. I'm kind of like, oh,
Here we are
oh,
going to get heartbroken in the
yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah, I think I had even tweeted. I was like, Packers playing meaningful football. Insert stomach problems. Like it. Like I don't know what it was. Like we were up by so much, and still like, when the fourth quarter started, my stomach kind of was like, kind of getting upset. It was kind of just like a nervous, like gnawing feeling. And all of a sudden, I was like this isn't good. I haven't really felt. The only time I ever felt that way was against Dallas, and I think that was just because I was there and like because that game means a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, I was kind of like, I have not felt that way this whole season. And now all of a sudden I'm getting the gnawing in my stomach again. I was like, oh, I have liked having a season with not feeling this way.
Right.
But I rather win than,
Oh, yeah,
deal
for
with a
sure.
stomach issue for an hour and a half. So
No, I mean, I feel better because we just went, well, at one point we had like a 6% chance.
yeah.
And here it's basically like a 50-50 chance leaning more towards us because we're a home team
hmm
and all we have to do is win. Everything else
hmm
has gone our way. Thank God.
Yeah, we're
Like
not having to wait. Like, for us, like we're for Detroit, like if Seattle, is it if Seattle wins, then they're out. Bless you.
yeah, I
Or
have the
if
weirdest sneeze.
it's okay. So if it's like if Seattle wins, then Detroit's out, or if Seattle loses, then Detroit. One way or the other. So like Detroit will
So
know.
what it comes down to is we would have the head to head over Detroit, and then but Seattle has the head to head, or was it Seattle has the head to head over Detroit as well, or something.
Yeah,
So
something
Detroit needs Seattle
to do something.
to lose, I believe, and it comes down to like how they finish in the division.
Yeah,
Even though we're
like
not in the same division, it's just how their division record.
Yeah, and so they were saying that like by the time that Sunday night football starts, like they will either know if they're playing for something or if their season's over and they're just trying to spoil it for us. And
And I hope to God if Seattle loses, they they make an announcement
Mhm.
that like Seattle has won, and I wouldn't be mad if they put their second stringers in, but I don't think that will
No,
happen.
I think they said that they were still
No,
competitive and they said
they will
either
play to
way.
spoil our season.
Yeah.
What sucks is if we lost, I want Detroit in.
Oh, you
Like
do?
that's what I want.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan, for saying that for us. That's what I thought I was, but I wasn't sure. So yeah, they
Okay.
need two things to go for them.
We only
And
need
we
one.
just need we have it is in our hands.
At home in primetime. Were you excited that we got the primetime game? Or
No.
is it the waiting all day for Sunday night
I hate
football?
waiting all day for Sunday night. I'll be honest. I prime time was good when I didn't have Sunday ticket because I
Oh,
knew I got to watch my game.
yeah.
Now that we have Sunday ticket,
Play at 12. Let me get this over
I'm
with. Rip it
fine with
off like
the
a
3.
band aid.
Honestly, I like the 325 because then I don't have to pay attention to the Sunday night one as much if I want to like go to bed early or something.
See, I like 12 o'clock because the 3 o'clock game is my nap time. I will
That's
sleep.
fair because yeah, the 3 o'clock game I am usually pretty tired at, but
I usually take a nap from when the start of the second quarter, like when it starts, and then right before halftime, I'm like, okay, wake me up so that way I can watch the third and fourth quarter. But I usually nap. I I like my 3 o'clock nap. So that was kind of hard whenever I was having to watch that game because I was like, oh,
oh no,
okay.
I don't mind that one bit. But yeah, I don't. I mean, I had a feeling we were gonna get flags or not flags because I didn't have the times anyways. But
Yeah.
I had a feeling we were gonna be the night game because our game it kind of matters the most for playoffs right
Hmm.
now.
Everyone else is kind of seated. Everything else is just gonna like
Yeah,
everyone else is already in, but both of our teams are the well. We'll see.
yes, both of our teams need a win, so
Hmm.
it's gonna be interesting. I felt less confident against the Vikings.
Hmm.
But now I don't. I'm like worried we're gonna almost get too cocky.
Oh, like how
And
we did last year against San Francisco.
yeah, I don't know. Like I'm just gonna be nervous no matter what because like it means so much to us for this game to win. So I'm just gonna be nervous about it. I think we have a better shot at winning this game than we did the Vikings game.
Oh, absolutely.
But again, two teams was something that means something, while as the
Hmm.
other game did not.
Yeah.
Um, Emily, we have a question for you.
Ooh, what is Emily's meal of choice for Sunday night? I don't know yet. We usually talk about it, but the only food thing we've actually decided is for Monday night's championship game for TCU versus Michigan. We're rooting for TCU, and
Oh, don't tell Jacob that.
we're gonna do Jersey Mike's for from Texas, so I've got to root for TCU. But we're gonna do Jersey Mike's for dinner on Monday. So I need to figure out what Sunday night meal will be. I will update. I will figure it out, and I will update everyone as to what we're eating.
I
So
know what it's not gonna be. It's not
bone
gonna be
and wings.
Chick-fil-A. It's not gonna be Chick-fil-A.
Oh,
That's usually your go-to.
unfortunately,
You're not gonna
yeah.
have Chick-fil-A though.
Chick Fil A is usually my go-to. Yeah, I think because looking back at the other Detroit game, I watched while I was in Houston on my phone while I was getting ready for a wedding. And that game pissed me off so much because it was just little accidents here and there. I don't think the Bakhtiari or the pass to Bakhtiari was an accident. I don't know what that is. Rogers also threw that like interception into the end zone. Like there was a lot of really weird ins and outs, and then we almost had to run for it, and then he yeeted it off into the abyss, and that was that. And so I kind of feel like, like they've shown so much more improvement since that Detroit game when we had a chance to win, and we're playing at home, and it's in prime time. And Rogers' record in prime time is not a Kirk Cousins prime time record. Like he's very, very good at primetime games. And I think, like you said, like they have something to play for. Excuse me. I think the other thing is like they have a lot to prove. Like they have a lot to prove to the NFL because everyone wrote them off when they were 4-8. I mean, every single week it was
We
like
wrote them off. Let's
eliminated.
be honest.
Yeah,
We wrote them
yeah,
off.
and it was like eliminated, 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 eliminated. And I think now it's kind of like, well, we'll see.
Well, I just remember seeing I think it was, about, I guess like 3, 4 weeks ago when they came out with the layout of how the Packers make it to the playoffs. And
Yeah.
it was the Giants or the Commanders have to lose 3 out of 4. One of the
Mhm.
two has to lose 3 out of 4. And then Seattle's got to lose 2 out of 4. And then we got to win out. I looked at that and they showed what games the other teams would be playing. And I thought the hardest thing for that to happen would be us to win out.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah,
when I
absolutely.
saw that, I was like, there's 3 games the Commanders are losing right there. I found the 3, found the 2 for Seattle, and sure
Hmm.
enough, they did. And so now, like again, we just got to win out, and the cards lay in our hands. So
And it's just like I remember, I don't remember what year it was, but it was like one of Favre's last years when things kind of had to do the same thing, and my dad was like, "The stars have to align," and so ever since
so
then, I've
in
never. We've not had a season in so long to where it was like the stars have to align because we've controlled our own destiny. We've done great, but then back to this season, it was like the stars have to align, and like you said, it was like the hardest thing is for us winning out. Like that's
yeah,
we have Miami, we have, which they've been on fire. We have Minnesota, which, they've been,
falsely
relatively
on
like,
fire.
yeah, frauds. And then, we have Detroit at home. So it was like all these different things. And it was like, yeah, like the stars had to align. And then all of a sudden it's like they did. So like all we had to do, like everything that had to happen last Saturday happened. And so it was like, we've got to win. And we did. And now we get to kind of control our own destiny. Like we just have to win. And so it's just so weird, like having another season like this to where it's like,
So the season I'm thinking of, um, early 2000s,
mm-hmm.
and if my dad's watching, he knows this game very well. And so what we needed was the Vikings to lose to the Cardinals. And at the time, the Cardinals were terrible. Um, and like there was like no way, but we needed them to lose and us to win to get into the playoffs. And there was this crazy catch in the end zone, tiptoes for the Cardinals winning touchdown, and me and my dad like lost it. And I
Yeah.
think that was like one of the games I remember like really falling in love with football then, because like I said, it
Mm-hmm.
was like early 2000s, so I was super young. And yeah, that's like the game I really remember, like just like falling in love with football because it was just such a rush, and it wasn't even our team.
Yeah. But
Like,
like you said,
it
like
was like, but it was like the
things had
thing
to
that
happen.
happened had to happen, and like there was
Mm-hmm.
felt like there was no way it would.
Yeah.
And
And
so, yeah, no,
yeah,
that's what I remember. So I don't know if that's the same thing you're thinking of if it was that game, but that's the one like it's embedded in my
into your
head
head.
like at
Yeah.
all.
It's crazy. It's just so crazy. But yeah, everything has had to happen and it's happened. And now it's just on us. And we'll see. So I'm excited about Sunday night game. I know by the time Sunday night gets here, I will be sick as can be. But I actually, on a personal note, have just found out that I've been like diagnosed with high blood pressure, and I've been having to like take my blood pressure every single day. And I'm like, I'm gonna take it early on Sunday. I'm probably only gonna do one reading, maybe at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I feel fine because I know by the time that
Oh man.
Sunday night gets here, it's just gonna pop off to
You're
something
right.
not so great. So we're not gonna do that. But I'm like this team cause. I'm like, my doctor was like, oh, do you know what the cause is? And I was like, I'm gonna sound like an idiot if I say the
Probably
Packers.
this season.
Yeah, a couple playoff losses and this season. So I'm like, thank you. I'm gonna send the Packers a bill for my therapy, stress, and you know, all that fun stuff.
Well, let's kind of move on to our Thirsty Thursday. We will talk about a moment. How about that? Because I have the picture that Haley was requesting for her Thirsty Thursday. And I feel it is fair for all of us to also feel that this would be one of our favorite moments from the game. I don't know about everyone else, but we love this.
I love the
It just
look.
shows how fucking cocky he is, and like you need to be one of the best. You have to have some
Mhm.
cockiness in you, and he sure does. And he backed it up that
Yeah,
day. That was the best part, is that he backed it up.
absolutely. I think for the past couple of games, it's kind of or like this whole season, but you're coming off of an injury. I get it. Like, you don't play the same, but he's kind of been not the greatest, not the worst. Like, there's obviously worse, players out there, but it was just kind of like not up to what we've seen. Same thing with AJ Dillon. Like, they're just not playing to their potential. And then
Definitely.
to have him talk all that smack, I was like, oh, he better. Like, he has got to bring it. Otherwise, A, you're going to look like an idiot. And then you're, going to look like even more of an idiot on TV when you just got, schooled again. And I wonder, again, if he would have gotten played on Jefferson the first game, like everyone said, and like he wanted.
That's what he wanted. He said it. That's what he wanted.
Have been different. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Again, like you can what if yourself to death, like you really can.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just, as soon as he pulled that move out, and like the ref was like, I'm like, that ref was like, I ain't seen nothing. I ain't seen nothing.
Oh man, what was I know you were telling me earlier, what was your other favorite moment?
Oh, my other favorite moment of the game was the AJ Dillon touchdown celebration. That was incredible. I loved the musicians.
What was the best, and who was the best air musician is what I'm curious.
I'm not gonna say Rodgers, but I loved the triangle. It was one of our offensive linemen. I don't know which one it was, but he was out there with the little triangle or the cowbell, like you said. Bakhtiari was on the saxophone. I loved the conducting from
Dude, honestly, I'll say it. Rodgers sliding in with that finger play there. My goodness. No wonder Shailene Woodley stuck around for so long. But yeah, I thought it was a ton of fun. It was great to see it. Definitely. Everyone participate. I saw something about someone like ran in and he wasn't even like on the field at the time.
Yes.
He just ran in to celebrate.
Hey, I don't blame him. I think the other cool thing is, I don't know if everyone else has seen. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. It is the Packers organization. They put out the still frame of the recap of Sunday's game against the Vikings. If you have not seen that, that is an excellent watch. I probably watched it 10 times today because I just needed the serotonin. But it was so funny because even another one of our favorite parts that we talked about earlier, Tori, was when it was, I want to say, was it Savage or Amos's interception? But Preston just bullied Kirk Cousins and pushed him down.
Just fucking shoved him.
He shoved him. And what's funny is because, like, that was an old teammate. Like, they both played in Washington together. So it's kind of like, oh, it's personal. But in the still frame, you see Preston Smith just kind of you can't see my hands. He did the push on him. The other funny part about the still frame is that they show the.
Did you mention that it's all Legos? I don't know if you mentioned it's all Legos.
It's all Legos. It's all Legos. It is hilarious. And so when they do show the AJ Dillon touchdown celebration, they pan over and all of the Legos have actual music instruments. It's so funny. Whoever made that, bravo. That was highly, 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 like, just needed for this week. So
this was like kind of one of my favorite parts, but like also I was like, fuck. Quay Walker just body slamming him to the ground. At like that point, because like I don't think he did it personally.
It was not malicious. Like,
it was not. It was literally just the energy he had, because like that's how I felt. I was like, yes, like the whole time, and like I mean, the guy didn't go down right away. And like I was like, fuck, he's gonna get ejected. And then I don't know if you noticed, but like 2 plays later, it wasn't as big, but he kind of body slammed another guy.
Yeah,
I was like, he's going to get kicked out, and I cannot have that.
No, I think
it was one of my favorites
about that was, I don't know if you saw, Adam Thielen was kind of like, and then just kind of like went the other way because he just saw his team. I was like, I don't want any part of that. Like, he did the ref thing. I can't see it.
Oh my gosh. I mean, we want to talk about things that didn't get flagged, Vikings fans. Can we talk about Justin Jefferson? Like, he wasn't intentionally hitting the ref with the helmet, I don't think.
Yeah.
But you were pissed off enough to take off your helmet and chuck it to the ground. And let me tell you, I played basketball, and one time I got pissed at myself, and I bounced the ball hard to myself, and then I passed it to the official, and I got a technical for that, for just pushing the ball down hard to myself.
Yeah, because you're upset with yourself. Yeah. I did not understand that. And then also, I know at one point Justin Jefferson also did change his cleats, because I saw they were like, oh, his shoes are off. And I'm like, oh, did he quit? And I was like, oh, no, he's just changing his cleats. And I'm like,
well, guess what? They still didn't work.
I think if he would have quit, it probably would have been better for him.
Would have been less embarrassing to fake an injury. No, it's all right.
Has he
He's good.
reactivated his social media? I know we talked about that earlier, but do you know?
I have not checked if he has. I
I think
really hope
so.
not, honestly. I would think that's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
So we
sorry, what were you
have,
gonna say?
I was gonna say, so we have Detroit, and then after that, it's just kind of up in the air about what we'll be doing with.
So I know, so we talked about this earlier. We actually had a lot of good conversations before
I
this.
know.
Um,
Hit record.
who who do you want to face first round in the playoffs if we get there? And don't take my answer,
I'm
Emily.
not gonna take your answer. Nobody. Honestly, could be kind of fun to play Minnesota again. And if we get in, it's we're on the
It's
road.
possible.
We're on the road the whole way. There is no home games.
Just like when we won the Super Bowl. It
And
is
he just
not the
got the
same
same
team.
haircut.
It is not the same team.
Bring back Donald Driver, Greg
Clay
Jennings,
Matthews.
Jordy
Everyone's
Nelson,
coming back.
Charles Woodson. We're
It's like a
getting the team
farewell
back
tour.
together. I would be here for it, honestly. I would be here for it. Um, it's hard to say. I I think Minnesota would be okay.
So
Um,
why would you pick Minnesota? Like, no, don't even think about any other teams. Why would you want Minnesota?
because I think we've exposed them. Not only us, but the Cowboys. Like we exposed them. Granted, it was at home with unfair
I say,
conditions,
yeah, we're gonna play in a dome.
but
If we play them, and like, do you feel like us playing them so close together would give us an advantage or a disadvantage, though?
I think it could give us an advantage. The only other team that I would like would be, and I know it's going to be controversial, is San Francisco, only because we've had such bad luck against them, and it would be very, very, very rewarding to go to San Francisco and beat them.
You want to know what wouldn't be rewarding?
Losing to them.
Us getting our asses handed to us.
Against San Francisco, and then the whole week leading up to it is the not as mad as they're going to be that they didn't draft me video over and over and over and over and
Right.
over again. But I don't know. That could be interesting. So I know your answer, but why don't you tell me yours?
Yes, I would like to play Dallas. I think we just play. That's one of our. I know we talked about it a few like shows ago. Just everyone has that team that they struggle with, and Dallas struggles with us. And then
Yeah.
the fact that honestly, I don't feel Dak Prescott is that good.
No.
The fact the interception when he tied Carr for interceptions playing 5 less games, that's embarrassing. You should be embarrassed by that to be compared to Derek Carr.
All right.
Who I mean, honestly, I don't think Derek Carr's terrible, but he's not great. He's not going to
Well,
get you
he doesn't have
anywhere.
a job anymore. Speaking
Yeah,
of
right.
that, do you think that there is a slight chance that we get Adams back?
No,
No,
no. I don't even think there's a shot.
you're not believing the hype.
Not at all. No,
Get the
I
band
don't.
back together.
No, I don't think there's a single shot because again, we all have been saying it. Rodgers possibly his last year. If not, I think next year is Devontae Adams. Not the case. He is
No.
going to continue playing, and I just don't think. I don't know if this is true or not, but I have a feeling he might not trust Love's ability to get him further in his career.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants someone he trusts, which is why he went to Derek Carr, who he has
Mm-hmm.
had great, historical times with at Fresno. And so I think I would see it more likely that Devontae Adams follows Carr than Devontae Adams coming
back to Green Bay. I think, and again, I know, we've touched over this. All of the Packer podcasts have touched over this. Like, there was more reasons as to why Devontae chose to go play for the Raiders.
I mean, yeah, we offered him the same amount of money.
Yeah, he wanted to be, with Derek. He wanted to be with a friend, but he also wanted his grandma to be able to see him play in person, which he was not able to do that. However, I just think that there has to be some sort of like sweet justice that the fact that he was like, I want to play with a quarterback that I know that's going to play for the next couple of years. The Rodgers situation has been so wishy-washy. He didn't say it in those terms, but that's kind of what was led to also making this decision was that he wanted stability. And the fact that not even through the whole season, Carr is gone, taking a personal vacation from the team because he doesn't want to be a distraction. And who knows where he'll be next year. And obviously he's not coming back to the Raiders. Like, that's very clear. And with a horrible interception ratio, who else is going to want him? Also, who
I
else can
also
afford
I
him?
also heard Devontae Adams say, I will say with the Raiders, I just hope our quarterback situation doesn't change. I've heard that as
Yeah,
well.
but it's just kind of like you've got to just kind of like warms me up a little bit inside, where it's like you wanted stability, and what did you get? You know.
A very you should have known the Raiders are an unstable organization. Like we saw what happened to them last year. What
Oh
was
yeah.
stable about that?
So,
Um,
anyways, but back to the Cowboys thing. I think the only reason why I'm hesitant to say Cowboys is because we Rogers has never lost at AT&T, but the fact that I live in Dallas, and if we were to somehow lose and
it
Rogers
would
was
just
to
kill
lose us,
you.
it would just kill me because yeah, we beat you in the regular season, but what matters is the postseason. So that's the only reason that
Which
I'm
we saw with San
hesitant.
Francisco last year.
Which is like, yeah, exactly. Which is why I'm hesitant to say
But what if
Dallas.
it? Okay, I
But if it
know
was the other way,
I
where
know it's
we,
probably because you live in Dallas, but
yeah,
like I feel it would be worse if it was the Vikings. If that happened, if we lost first round to the Vikings, I feel like
we
it'd
would
be
never hear the end of it.
so much worse
Yeah,
than if we
because
lost first round to Dallas.
if we lost first round to Dallas, only I would hear the end of it. But if we lose first
Yeah,
round
and
to
that's
Dallas,
I
the
think it
whole
is.
division
I
is
think
gonna
it's
just,
because you live there. Because again, I grew up in Minnesota, so that's why I feel that way. I hate the
yeah.
Vikings because I lived there.
No, exactly, and I agree. Like I know that if we were to lose to the Vikings in the first round, like it would be absolute. Just the tryhards on Twitter would just just
I just
all the
feel
way up
so
until next
much. I
season.
just feel so much more comfortable with if we're gonna play an away game. I want to go to an away game that's basically a home game for us, and that
Yeah,
is at their stadium. It is
yeah.
like our second home.
Very true. No, I agree. I agree. Could be interesting because obviously you know how this week plays out. If Dallas wins, if Minnesota wins, if the
Eagles
Eagles win,
lose.
or if they lose, like everything is going to kind of get situated. But by the time that Sunday night happens, everything will
We'll
already be
already
set in
know.
stone. So we'll know. How do you feel if they do decide, because of what happened on Monday, to add an eighth team into the playoffs? Like, how would that change things? What would we move to eighth instead of seven? Like, you know,
Um, that's so hard because of it being such an unprecedented thing,
we've never
and
seen it.
the conditions of why it would be that way.
Hmm.
I don't. You'd have to just rewrite a lot of. Would they be giving the two teams a bye? The first two teams?
Um, I'm not sure because there was a lot of things that the NFL was considering doing, which I don't
I
know
know I've
who's
seen a lot
considering
of
this.
considering.
Because some of them were like, give them a bye or give them the opportunity to have home field advantage. There was a
Again,
couple other
I say
suggestions.
again, the Monday night game that does not matter and
Hmm.
stuff. And if it doesn't get or not replayed, if it doesn't get played, I think we all are very understanding
Okay,
on
with it, yeah.
why. We are very understanding on why it is. The thing is, though, that game for the AFC specifically was such a factor, but it was more for those top seeds. So
Hmm.
it is affecting the AFC much more than it is the NFC.
Yeah.
So if we get an eighth team, it is what it is for
Hmm.
us. They might go back to having the two teams have a bye rather than just the top one.
Yeah. There could be a lot of variables with it.
I
I think
do
the other
not
thing,
want the Vikings to get a bye though.
no, no,
That's
because
the thing is I want them to get eliminated in the first round because I think they have the ability to get eliminated in the first round. Because if it's not us and it is Detroit or it is
hmm
Seattle, ah, gosh, if they play the Giants, even I know that they're not going to
hmm
likely, but if they did, I would feel they could lose to the Giants. Even I feel that the Vikings can lose to every single person that will be in the playoffs, except for potentially the last two seeds, and that's even a maybe.
yeah, because right now where it's at is it's the Eagles, Minnesota, 49ers, and then Tampa Bay.
Whereas I thought Dallas was up in there. I don't.
No, because Dallas
No,
will be in
yeah.
as a
Oh
wild
no, they're
card.
down low.
So then
Yeah.
it would be Dallas, Giants, Packers if we win. If we win, if we win, that's how the seeding would go. And so then we would go to number two, which right now probably is Minnesota. Um, Giants would go to Tampa, and Cowboys would go to the 49ers. And then after that, but again, things all could switch by the time that Sunday night gets around here. Dallas could be number one, Minnesota could be number one. It's just kind of up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna have to see what it is when the time comes. But so what? So okay, do you see us winning this game? How about we start with that? Do you see us winning against Detroit?
Yes, I do. I feel more confident about this one than I did the other one. So I do feel pretty confident about this.
I also feel more confident in this one. It's just gonna like I also have this like gut feeling, and unfortunately, I feel like when I have these feelings, they're right. Is that we have had everything go so on point for us that we would fuck it up at the very end.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Like literally, like I could see it. I don't want to see it, but
somehow.
I have that gut feeling that it's like we work so hard just for a shitty spot in draft picks.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing that, like you said, like whenever you said, like just for everything to go wrong, like somehow Amari Rodgers is back on the team returning punts, like, like that's how bad it got. Like that's like it's like oh we're already at a low point, like let's bring Amari Rodgers back and have him return some punts.
Well, so if as we both say we see this win, what do we need in order to win? Considering we lost to them last time.
Consistency on all three phases. They've got to play better. Try not throwing it to an offensive lineman. Not really that hard, like I mean, our bar's pretty low for
the fact that our run game is finally picking up. Like again with AJ Dillon, love the guy. Everyone knows that. He's my man. He's back in my little, corner over here that I painted. And so I love AJ Dillon, and he was not having a great season at the beginning, and I love that he's finally picking up to be like, okay, this is what we all expected of him. He is a cold weather player.
Oh yeah, he's dominant in the cold weather. I think also too having Nixon back there has been such a difference. I don't know if you saw today.
When was the last time the Packers had a great punt return? Like 1984? I don't know. Like
before time began.
Oh my God! Before I was even a thought to my parents, I feel like
LaFleur was saying, he was like, "What happens if they bounce it to someone else?" And he was like, "Throw it back to Nixon." And the reporter was like, "No," and he was like, "No, really, that's the plan. Like, if it bounces to someone else, yeet it back to Nixon and let him do that." And I'm like, okay, no, that's a little bit over dramatic because
right.
potentially losing yards. But it's like that's how, and it's special player of the week. I mean, what the heck,
As it should be
perfectly, yeah, as he should. But again, when has the Packers special teams player besides I think Pat O'Donnell earlier this season been a special player of the week? Like that's just unheard of, especially with the way that we've been acting these past couple of seasons.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, our special teams has been absolute shit, and so for this to actually be going well for us, again, it's the trauma, honestly, for me
it's
that
trauma.
I'm terrified that again everything bad is gonna end up going wrong and stuff. I'm nervous. All right, he's gonna muff a punt or something. Yeah. It's gonna be a throwback to Amari Rodgers back there, and somehow he's been doing so good until this last game, and it's just the trauma in me talking. So I need to be more confident because I'm very confident. It's just the deep down gut feeling.
And the other thing that we have to make mention of too, our turnover ratio for defense has been incredible.
Turnovers and also what we do after. Yeah. We need to at least get a field goal out of that. Yes, that's a big difference.
Again, the bar is set really low for this team, I feel like.
Extremely
low. Had this podcast last year, we would have been like, if we don't, our we called it the gold zone because our red zone percentage was so high.
It was so good.
And then this year
it's
days. It's almost like at one point I felt like the turnovers in the end zone were higher than us actually scoring.
Oh yeah, I mean the fact that the first two scores we had was special teams and defense because our offense has not been clicking. I think those just sparked the offense. Everyone was on a high.
Yeah,
and so is that what we need? Is we need them to score before our offense because we can't go score on our own first.
I think they were saying that it was 14-3 and neither team had a first down or something.
Yeah, we didn't even have a first down, and we were winning 14-3.
Yeah,
and
neither
we had. I think we had at one point maybe 50 yards.
Yeah,
And we were winning 14-3.
Oh, we should have pulled up the Kirk Cousins thing that was like yards his players have gotten after reception versus like yards our players got after reception, and it was bad. Like it was real bad. And one of my best friends, Lindsay, has Kirk on her fantasy team. And she was playing him in the championship game, and she was like, "I just need him to do something." And I'm like, "I love you, no, like no." I'm like, "I don't
Absolutely
even want them
not.
to
Show
score."
your
And I was
fucking
like,
whore mouth.
"Yeah." And so she was like, it was what it was until once they, got those garbage time touchdowns, it went a little bit better. But I was like, no, like I'm sorry, like I can't, like, for the sake of my sanity, like, you know, it is what it is. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was interesting to be able to see us actually do something. And again, speaking of what you said at the very beginning, to not let the adversity like bring us so far down. Like, yeah, we were able to stop them. And I think that also sparked something too, where that defense was like, hey, we're on it. Like
Yeah. Speaking of
they
defense, let's say we win Sunday.
uh-huh.
Do you still want to fire Joe Barry?
I don't know. I'm on the fence with him.
I wish Haley was here. I really want to know what she would say.
Yeah, does Haley still think that we should sit Rogers? Where's Haley?
She probably still does.
We
Her
need her
her
controversial
stubborn ass
opinion.
still does. You know it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Yeah, I'm on the fence with him. Because when it's bad, it's bad. When it's good, it's good.
Okay. I'll say this. I've seen improvements, and that is a promising thing, that you can take a team you lost so terribly to, and you can look at what you need to do to fix it, and you do fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's nice. So it's because defense is all about improvements, because you never know what they're going to come out with, because I mean, yeah, you've been watching film on them, but they've also been watching film on you for the past week.
Mm-hmm.
So they might be coming out with something that you were not expecting, so you have to adapt and change your plan based on that in a good functional way. And it's going to come down to how he does with that, I think, like how he does with changing and adapting when need be. But
I think the other thing that we've said too is that I felt like some of our defensive players were not living up to their full potential. Like
for sure,
Jair,
Jair was having a really slow
Amos,
season
like
so far. Yeah.
yeah, like some of the like Russell, like he went way back. Devondre
Mm-hmm.
Campbell, like it
Yep.
was just, and especially for us to have only one player selected, being Jair, to the Pro Bowl. Like that was kind of like,
Embarrassing for us,
yeah, especially because
honestly.
Rodgers has always been like a shoe in. Obviously, he never plays, but it was just kind of like alternatives, alternatives, alternatives. It was disrespectful to Aaron Jones. I will say that he should have been
It is not Aaron Jones' fault that we did not use him
yeah,
properly
and I
and
think that's
throughout
the
the
thing with
season.
this team. And
It
again,
was
Haley
not
will
his
say with
fault.
Amari Rogers, they were not used properly. Aaron Jones, I think someone said like Aaron Jones is east to west, and or maybe it's like one of the running backs is east to west, and the other running back is north and south, and it's like they keep flip flopping them, and so it's like you're not doing what they should be doing. And I think the same thing that's what was like Joe Barry. It's like, well, maybe now that the players are doing what they're doing. However, I still cannot get over the fact that we played against, was it the Eagles first, and Jalen Hurts is a great running quarterback, and then we played next week against the Bears with another great running quarterback, and still let him run all over the field. It's like, how do you not, like, you obviously saw, hey, letting the
I
quarterback run for
definitely
a million
think
yards.
Jair stepped up this past game because this was a personal game for him. Like he felt this was like personal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that's why he stepped up so much last game. Is he going to find that personal thing with this one? I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's going to have as good of a game as he did again with Jefferson. I hope he does. I hope he has a better one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I hope for a couple interceptions. And it is Jared Goff after all, so we'll see. I mean, they were saying like, Jared Goff doesn't play really well at, night games, doesn't play really well in like not perfect conditions. And
I
I
mean,
think Sunday night's
what's
not supposed to
really
be
good
perfect.
is that these two teams, I mean, yes, they are in our division, but these two teams coming to play at home are also dome teams.
Yeah, that is
And
true.
that's really nice for us. Is yes, they are both cold weather teams, but they are not playing
It's a difference.
outdoors like we are.
Yeah.
They are a
No.
dome team.
You can't compare like the nice, dome that Minnesota plays in compared to Lambeau. Like there's just it's night and day difference. So I we'll see. But I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited for the game.
I'm excited too. I know we're all hoping for the best. I know everyone watching is out hoping for the best because why else would you be watching us? Um, so I promise it's not for my looks. I look like shit and I sound like a fucking rat. So I know it's not that. So thank you for watching though. And let's all just be cheering and hope for a good game.
Yeah, that
Anything
sounds good.
anything for you, Emily?
That sounds good. I was gonna say the opposite. I sound good and look like a rat, but that'll just be our dual signing off, like when we don't have Haley to control, like to control the situation.
Exactly. But yes, thanks for watching, and I guess we'll catch you
Go
next week in
Pats.
hopes for the playoffs.